Gentlemen, how are we? We're back.
We are. And lighting's not back,
You
but
almost changed it up there.
I don't know. How's my light? Okay, there you go. If I go like this,
It
it
depends on
looks
where
okay.
you move your hand somehow. I don't know
Yes.
how the technology works, but okay. Open the show. We were supposed to record a few days ago. Well, it was going to be me and Mike and I, but things happened. My
People change.
apologies. It just work schedules changed, to be honest. We tried to get some extra people on, but it's just the timing didn't work. So you're instead getting today might be a beefier episode because we do need to go back and talk about Edmonton. We're gonna have a much more calm discussion on Bruce Cassidy's firing instead of just the instant reaction because we have some stuff that's come out since then and. Who knows what's happening with David Pastrnak now? That's pretty funny. Besides that, we can preview the Cup final, maybe the most exciting one we've had probably since St. Louis Boston on paper, at least, because we got Tampa, Colorado. We can talk about Tampa beating New York and all that kind of stuff, which I think is where we should start. Is last night's game. In 6 games, the Tampa Bay Lightning win 4 straight after going down 2-0 to start the series. And for the 3rd straight year, they're going to the Cup final. I want to say this is the 4th time they've done it since 2015.
15. Yes.
That's so funny. And they look to win 3 straight. The big story is Patrick Maroon looks to tie Wayne Gretzky with 4 rings. Love the quality there. Is he a Hall of Famer? No, not doing that. Corey Perry looks to not lose for 3 straight years in the finals. And most importantly, it is Perry versus Lekanen. It's 2 former Habs. I'm kidding. That's not the biggest story.
That's the biggest story.
But it's Colorado in that, but we'll preview the exact thing a little later. I went completely off track. I wanted to talk about the series itself. You know what? A big thing for me was I feel like Rangers fans right now must be so heartbroken in a way because they exceeded all expectations, but they were so close to going up 3-0 in this series. And they were so close to winning, I think it was game 5. But in both times, Andre Palat, one off a Sergachev shot, but anyway, completely breaks their heart. This was another example of the Tampa Bay Lightning just showing what a championship team really is made of. A dynasty looks like, if I might even say that.
Yeah, and I think I think you're spot on about the Rangers, right? There's absolutely nothing to be upset about. And what we're eventually going to get to in this episode about the Lightning, we're not, and in no way are we diminishing the New York Rangers. And I think I brought it up countless times this playoffs. There's no other team in the league who has the mentality of the Tampa Bay Lightning. There's something that they have that even the Colorado Avalanche don't have. And they've won the last 2 Stanley Cup champions. And you can talk about asterisk this, asterisk that, COVID bubble this. It doesn't matter. They won. It's irrelevant, the circumstances. They won the thing that 32 teams start the season now chasing.
Go ahead, Daniel. Sorry.
I think it's pretty cliche to say because we've said it so many times and it's been mentioned that whatever happens with Tampa, the way they've been able to win, the way they've been able to close out series, it's the quote unquote team of destiny. There's always something that kind of comes up of them squeezing through or just getting by. We all thought that one goal, the tying goal from the Rangers, that was pretty deflating for them. And then suddenly, I know we're going to talk about the goal, but
oh man,
it happened a few seconds later. And it's crazy to me that they're in the finals again because, we're getting 80s Islanders vibes now. And to be honest, we're going to preview it after, but this is the finals I thought we were going to have for the last 3 or 4 years, to be honest. And on the Rangers side of things, I agree with Alex. Nothing to really be disappointed about. I think that they exceeded what we all really thought, not just in the first round, but also at the trade deadline. I look really, really foolish now saying that Andrew Cobb trade was not worth it. Hopefully he resigns, but it was a great series. I think that this is probably, and hopefully will be, that big lesson that the Rangers kind of get to that next level later on.
So a few things I just wanted to mention as they're going through. Like you look at the first cup, the bubble was difficult. Bubble wasn't fun. That was difficult. Last year, still a COVID affected year, and that series against the Islanders. I mean, what a battle! What a battle! And then this year has just been hell of a first round series. It's really funny when you look at they win Game 7. And for most of that game, they didn't have Braden Point. They sweep the Panthers. Then 4 straight wins, excuse the siren. They're arresting Julien Brisebois for what he's done. What a GM. Game 7 win without him against the Leafs. Sweeping your, I would say provincial, your state rivals.
And President's Trophy winners.
And President's Trophy winner. And that highest scoring team in the league, and they scored like 2 goals. And then 4 straight against the Rangers. Those sort of sets of games, all without Braden Point. That bubble cup, 1 shit from Steven Stamkos. It is so impressive. It is the mindset and the next man up mentality that a team like that has to have. It is incredible. And you mentioned that game tying goal that the Rangers had. Frankfurt Toronto, by the way, another really good pickup they had. The moment I saw that goal, I'm like, there we go. There's a chance. But right away, Tampa said, no. And it was Steven Stamkos who took that penalty that resulted in the Rangers power play, goes back seconds later and scores. That, to me, is a legacy moment for Steven Stamkos. Never seen one clearer in my life. It's sensational for that guy.
Two things. I think the thing with Tampa, again, that is so, and I think it comes with the decade almost of success that they've been going through, plus the back-to-back cup wins, is they'll score a goal, you'll win 2 games in a row, and they'll brush it off as if nothing has happened. It doesn't affect them the same way. It literally affects 31 other teams. And the second thing about Steven Stamkos, for someone, and I will die on this hill that he has been disrespected the last 2 years, because after every single time, the last 2 times they've won the cup, the conversation turns to, do they still need Steven Stamkos? And it was at its peak last summer. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, but what are we like? Cool. Sure. Vegas. Let's trade him to Vegas. I think was a thing going around.
He would only waive his no move to go to Vegas, I think was.
Oh, is that what it was?
I think so.
Okay. But why? Like, what's the disrespect here for Steven Stamkos? I don't really yes, he's dropped off, but I think we all know what he brings on and off the ice.
You know, it's an interesting thing that I saw with that as well is, remember, they're doing this without Braden Point, and remember that argument before, it's like Steven Stamkos dropped off, he could no longer play center. That's the end of it. That he's not at that elite form anymore, and I think he's really proving us wrong this year.
I'm gonna take a tweet here from Scott Wheeler. I saw that Alex liked it. Steven Stamkos for the 2021-2022 season. So far, he's played 98 games, regular season and playoffs. 51 goals, 70 assists, 122 points, 21 points, and he's 32. I am so impressed. And this is a guy who probably may never play on an Olympic team. Oh, COVID just ruined it. COVID ruined it. By the way, John Cooper also said, Friedman tweeted this, John Cooper says Braden Point is extremely probable to play in the finals, although he's not sure about game 1. And that starts on Wednesday, by the way. Tampa. That's going to be a hell of a series. We'll look at that in Colorado in a second here, but something that I was very confused about in game 6. Ryan Strome looked like a broken man because he has been hurt all series. Didn't look like it was comfortable for him to move at all. But Gerard Gallant makes a decision that I'm going to put in Dryden Hunt, keep Strome in. I know he's a center, but still. And then I'm going to take out Capo Caco. What is it with coaches and organizations not trusting young Finns drafted high in the draft? Kakaniemi, Capo Caco. The Oilers are going to be so dumb with Jesse Puljujarvi. I don't know. Like, I don't think Capo Caco was going to change it, but it's still just, it was very confusing. Like, Tampa were going to win that game. Like, I think the way it was like the last few minutes of that game, I think they allowed 2 shots, like flawless execution. But I'm very concerned about that because this is a second overall pick. I mean, you know, faith in them now. Like, Lafreniere was rewarded and he started on the top line, but I mean, the advanced numbers showing that line were like the kid line that included Kakko were great. Dryden Hunt.
That's what the confusing part was. And, you know, I did miss a lot of last night's game. I got like live. I got to rewatch it this morning. And same with game 5. I thought that line that we talked about last episode, and we probably talked about for a few episodes now, and that kid line was doing so well. And we had these sparks of like, here we go. Like, these are the guys we found. Okay. They're not going to be first line talent at this moment, but we're seeing the sparks of greatness. And it was just, to me, it was weird that Capo Caco got scratched, considering there was so much emphasis on that line for a lot of this series.
Yeah, for me, looking at the amount of shots the Rangers actually had, I know that, you know, he's not going to be a guy that turns the dial, but I guess right now, but it was someone that I thought of, like, you put in as a factor of doing what you can to get as many shots as possible, because the Rangers were really kind of stifled on that for quite some time prior to, like, I guess the 6 7 minute point of the third period.
Mm-hmm. Just looking at what's next overall for the Rangers here. First off, I wonder if this is finally, if I wonder if Georgiev is an Oiler. That's just something I'm thinking of right now. He's obviously an RFA with our Brights. Sammy Blais is one as well. I don't know how that works out because he barely played, because he hasn't played since he got slew foot by Subban earlier in the year. What helps the Rangers, though, is obviously Jeff Gordon, before getting fired, did a really good job of cleaning up some of the rough contracts there. And then obviously there was stuff like the D'Angelo buyout. So going into this offseason, oh no, hold on. Oh, because Cat Friendly rolled over it. Oh no, I hate it. No, I was going to say, they're getting all this cap space from their buyouts. Never mind. So they still have 1.4 from Kevin Shattenkirk, 1.1 from Dan Girardi, 800,000 from Tony D'Angelo, and Brad Richards is still $0 for the most confusing buyout in NHL history. But it's like Georgiev, Sammy Blais, Justin Braun, you could probably see is gone. The forwards are just so fascinating though, because Julien Gauthier is not the best name to start with. But Capo Caco is an RFA. He's coming off his ELC. You talked about Andrew Kopp, Greg McKinnon. Tyler Mott is an interesting guy. So I bet a smart team's going to pick him up. Maybe the Lightning, maybe. But the big ones for me, beside Frank Vetrano, decent player, Ryan Strome. He's a UFA. It sounds like Mark Scheifele is staying in Winnipeg, so maybe sort of scrap that idea. But they need another center if Strome doesn't stay. And I think maybe you need to really compete in the East. I think maybe the Rangers need to target an upgrade down the middle.
And they have $13.5 million in cap space to do so, which is tight. And I think the benefit for them is, other than upgrading at second line center, there's not a whole lot of work for them to do. I think obviously you already have your star goalie, so that's one thing. Your defense for the most part is quite set. You at least have 4 guys who you know are going to be back next year, and Patrick Nemeth. Sorry, I didn't mean to dig at Patrick Nemeth. It was just,
like, you have Keandre Miller,
you have Miller, Lindgren,
you got Chuba Fox, and you were like,
and Patrick Nemeth.
I thought
I didn't mean to disrespect.
Favorite player.
My favorite player. I'm like, so I remember when I was like, the Avs should pick him up, and they picked him up. I loved it. I
don't mean the disrespect there. I think for the most part, I think there's some work they have to do up front, adding that center, re-signing those guys. But they also have prospects who are probably going to come in, take those some of those spots. But that big one is that second line center. And I know Mike's been talking about that for some time now. So if they can upgrade on that, someone to sit behind Mika Zibanejad, someone to play with Artemi Panarin, that's what they should be looking for.
For me, what I kind of take from this year and then going into next year is that defensive core that, I'm really liking. And I'm going to say the young guys, because it's weird to say Adam Fox is one of the young guys because they're already winning a Norris. Adam Fox, Keandre Miller, Ryan Lindgren. I think those are like the three guys that they got a lot from this playoff run, and that's just going to really help the Rangers moving forward. Jacob Trouba is Jacob Trouba. I know he's a good player. I just don't like the hits, but those three guys, I think this was so meaningful for them to get this experience. And it's kind of weird that all three of them played in the World Juniors together for the U.S.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Keandre Miller, I think, had a coming out party for a lot of people who don't watch a lot of Rangers hockey. I didn't know he was as effective as like taking away pass. I think in Game 5 there was this really good play where he had like an amazing defensive play when he like went down to try and take the passing option on a 2-on-1 and got his stick back around and like hook away and like block, knock. I forget which Tampa player it was, but like knock the puck off his stick. Like it was. I didn't know he like led the playoffs and like blocked shot attempts or like pass attempts. I didn't know he was that good. Like I knew he was a good player, but I didn't know he was at that stage. But like that's one hell of a player. And Ryan Lindgren, that man, go get some ice. I haven't looked up there to see if the injuries are out there for the Rangers yet, but I can only imagine just the bruises that Ryan Lindgren has, because that man has just been through it. Listen, Panarin, great, because he plays on that second line mostly. Great at carrying the puck. You want a cheap, affordable centerman who really needs a winger to help move the puck for him. Great net front guy, Mr. Christian Dvorak. Yeah. Because you realize, I think it's safe to say the Rangers could make a trade. Obviously, they could go the free agent route for a center, but they could make a trade and probably an asset that's going to go somewhere. Vitaly Kravtsov signed a 1-year deal today, apparently. I think it was like $700,000. Nothing much. $850. Not bad. He's
mending the fences.
So I don't know about. I think that's like Jake DeBrusk signing one. I think that's pretty much easy to sort of. Nice. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a KHL clause in there, like there tends to be with those Russian guys. But I don't know. Maybe he finally gets moved. There's a lot of like guys out there, like those sort of. Maybe you could see them being like middle six wingers. Like Kravtsov's out there. Pulia Harvey could be out there. There's a lot out there. You know who's not out and maybe in a prison cell right now? There's a Rangers fan who knocked out a Lightning fan. Guy, you see the guy was out for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And the dude trying to run away punched a witness who tried to stop him from fleeing the scene. What happened? What are we doing? If you punch someone, so apparently that guy's been like banned from Madison Square Garden. Did you see that Tampa's CEO reached out to the Lightning fan who got dropped and is apparently going to send him some stuff?
Oh, really? No, I didn't see that. That's sick.
Yeah.
He's going to send him some playoff swag.
He had the Marty St. Louis. What is it? The Marty St. Louis something
he became a fan because he went to Marty St. Louis camp in Vermont when he was younger. Yeah. Didn't know Marty had a thing in Vermont, but
me too. Did he go to University of Vermont? Because he did the NCAA route.
Let's find out.
Yeah, let's just fact check.
Good maple syrup there, I hear.
Martin St. Louis. Let's see if he played the college route. I mean,
he did at Vermont.
Okay, good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. And now he's a coach in the NHL.
From one maple syrup state to the maple syrup province.
What?
From Vermont to Quebec.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I'm like, I don't think there were maple trees in Edmonton. I think that's more the oil country, as they call themselves. It's such a bad name. But anyway, that's good for them. So it feels so late because we're so behind here. But like Arturi Lehkonen, it's just everyone doubted how good a freaking player he was until it's like, he's available and he's great. And he was with an actual competent elite forward group when he was playing with good players. I told you, people. I told you how good Lehkonen was. And for the second straight year, he wins his team the Western Conference technically because the Montreal Canadiens won that side of the bracket last year. I know it's confusing, but another overtime winner to send his team to the finals. I'm so happy. I don't know if the goal should have counted, to be honest. I thought that was a bit of a high stick, but maybe because then that wasn't what sent it in. It was like he kind of got his own sort of, he wrangled it and then shot it in, but still.
Yeah, because isn't it a high stick if it's the way I understand the rule is if it's deflecting a shot, it's below the crossbar, but if it's not, it's below the shoulder. And it was just below his shoulder by an inch, a couple inches.
What's it? The people are saying the Oilers didn't get any 50-50 calls in this round. Everyone outside's walking their dogs. Not mine are going off. I don't know if you can hear that. I'm sorry. Oh God. But just looking at the Oilers are gone. We're going to get some of this. I think we're going to spend a lot of time with the Oilers, to be honest. So before we do that, I just want to just quickly say about Colorado. I would say, Cale Makar, really good defensive series, shutting down Connor McDavid, had a 5.9 in game 4 to sweep Edmonton, which was amazing. Also, Mike Smith, not great. Who could have seen that coming?
Everyone.
Just want to say that wasn't great. That wasn't great. But the Avs.
How many times did he complain that night, though?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Where did you see that meme where it's like Mike Smith looks like the guy, like he's just asking like who let in the goal and why did this happen? I like to get at the bottom of this.
I was seeing the replay of the Rasmus Anderson goal again, and it's just the funniest thing about that goal isn't the fact that 132 feet away. It's that Mike Smith is like looking towards his defenseman saying, how did that go? And when you let it in from the other side of the rink, you could shoot that from the concessions and he'd probably stop the hot dog before the puck. Like, what are we doing here? Anyway, the Avs are doing it. I mean, you said it, Daniel. This is a matchup we've been waiting a couple years to see. You know what? Not Gordon Ramsay. Marco Pierre-White in the Boiling Point documentary that follows Gordon Ramsay's quest for his third Michelin star. Marco Pierre-White has always talked about that, like getting your third Michelin star as a chef is the attacking game, right? But then maintaining it is the defending game. The Lightning are going for that third star, but they're already the champs. They're doing the defending game right now. The Avs are the attackers. Obviously, Nazem Kadri's health is going to be a big question in this series. Braden Point, how good he'll be is another one. Obviously, how are the Avs going to do without Sam Girard? Because Jack Johnson against Tampa Bay worries me a lot. And then there's the obvious that Tampa's advantage in goal with Vasilevsky compared to probably Darcy Kemper, considering he backed up game 4, so he's probably ready to go. I think Tampa are going to go 3 here. I think there's so much in Tampa's favor right now that even if they didn't have Braden Point, I don't trust Colorado in goal. I don't know about you guys, but I think Tampa are going for the third straight here.
No, I'm surprised you picked Tampa. I thought we were going to have to have. I thought we were going to have a debate on the show.
I don't want them to win, but
no, I absolutely think they're going to win. I think advantage in goal. I'd say they're pretty even in most other places. Mm-hmm. I think the playoffs have proved Tampa's forward depth a lot more than maybe the regular season did. Because I think when they brought in, especially Hagel, who came in with an extremely high price, maybe didn't look like what we expected, but in the playoffs, I think that line has been spectacular. I think Tampa has this, not because I think they're the better team, but I also think they have, like we were talking about before, the who gives a crap mentality in, okay, sorry, they scored 2 goals against us, or sorry, we're down 2-0. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's going to get them over Colorado.
Give me 1 second. You guys keep talking. I just need to sneeze, then I'll give you my take.
What I like is, I'm just thinking of matchups. Obviously, Makar versus Hedman is like a fever dream for me. Yeah. The 2 defensemen I have sung so many praises on the last few years. You look at the matchups of even like McDonough, Devin Taves. You look at stuff like they each have a big burly bastard.
Yeah.
Cernak and Josh Manson. I love it. Even the guys that like, and then obviously the coming out party for Bo and Byram in these playoffs as well is a big stuff. I forgot how like half of Colorado's offense is up this year. By the way, you know who's a UFA and is having a great playoff, which means he's going to get overpaid? JT Comper.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That is, yeah, he is a UFA this year.
And Valerie Nikushkin.
He's a UFA next year, Adam.
Oh god, because the cap really rose.
Valerie Nikushkin is a UFA this year.
No, they Russian, not Finnish player, by the way, Valerie Nikushkin. I hate cap friendly. I hate when this happens. So anyway, but these are the total UFAs. It's Burakovsky, Cogliano, Helm, Kadri, Nikushkin, Nico Sturm, and then obviously Abe Kubel and Trey Luckinen are RFAs. By the way, good part about that trade for Colorado for Luckinen.
But did you mention Josh Manson as well? He's also
I was just talking about forwards.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh, Jack Johnson, Josh Manson, Ryan Murray, UFAs, as is Darcy Kemper in goal. Wow. So the Avs, like, listen, would I be surprised if the Avs won? Of course not. Because they're a great team.
Yeah.
It's just they are facing the Tampa Bay. Remember when Freeman said they were tired?
Oh, yes.
Remember he said they're tired. Remember there was like that middle stretch when they had lost like 10 straight and Kucherov wasn't scoring and Point wasn't scoring. And people were like, here we go. No. It's
fools.
Hold on.
All of them. That is so upsetting. I can't believe we allowed them to. I can't believe we as hockey Twitter allowed ourselves to walk into the Stanley Cup playoffs and say the Tampa Bay Lightning are tired. Do you know what? Did we ever say that about Pittsburgh? I feel like we did. People did, and they were proven horribly wrong.
They ran into the Islanders, and
I'd like to point out two things. So I'm going to give my take on who I think is going to win. First thing is Elliot Friedman just made me laugh when he said Tampa looks tired because did you see the tweet last night that everyone joked about?
No, what?
Where he said no point in warm-ups.
Oh yeah.
And everyone's like, come on, Elliot, you know what it's meant for.
Yeah.
All these things. I love that. For me, I'm wearing the Raptors hat because I think the Avalanche are going to win.
Okay.
In 7, despite the deficiencies they have stacked up against them with the Lightning. And I think it's because I know it's a weird
what's
thing
the
to
Raptors
say.
comparison? What's the Raptors?
The Golden State Warriors were coming off 2 championships when they faced the Raptors.
So are you saying that Kucherov's going to leave the game with an ankle injury and the crowd's going to cheer?
Oh my God.
A
dark moment in Toronto history. But I don't know. I just kind of have this feeling. I have the the Paul Fenton kind of trade scouting. I just had a feeling about it. But
so they'll win in 3 years, like the Kevin Fiala deal.
Yes. So I don't know. I'm going with the Avs. Not that I have anything against the Lightning because I really do love how they replenish everything. I wanted to mention during the Rangers segment here that it was kind of weird to me to see Brendan Hagel and Nick Paul shake the hands of Barclay Goodrow. It's like the handing off of the top 9 depth guys.
Yeah.
And it's like how they've been able to kind of replace him so quickly.
Don't worry, kid. You'll get the payday next year.
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny? I hate that Vasilevsky's only 27. Here's who Tampa have under contract next year. As I can read cap friendly properly. Kucherov is back. He's only 28. But to be fair, playoff wear, he's probably body wear 31. So Kucherov will be back next year, obviously. Point's back next year. Stamkos is back next year. Cirelli's back next year. Kaloran, who is always on the trade block, is back next year. Brendan Hagel is back next year and the year after. Ross Colton, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, Corey Perry, god damn it. Patrick Maroon is still getting Boulay. I don't even know how much Barry Boulay has played, but they're back. Hedman will be back. McDonough will be back. Sergachev will be back. Cernak will be back. Bogosian will be back. I'm sorry, Alex. Calfoot will be back. And the cherry on top, they still have 2 more years of the Brent Seabrook LTIR.
Just beautiful.
That's not fair.
Does he get a ring?
Fair. Who, Seabrook?
Yeah.
you know how like there's different quality of rings for like concession workers or something, right? I'd give Brent Seabrook like a concession workers ring. Like you helped, obviously. Like he helped. This isn't $18 million over the cap, but it's still incredibly intelligent in the Lightning. But it's. I hate it. I hate how good they are.
Eventually, we're gonna have the conversation about what's next for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and it's gonna be a very short conversation because for the most part, everyone's coming back. And, everyone's like, Andre Palat's going to go out and get paid. I'm like, okay, you guys keep saying that. Everyone keeps saying Andre Palat's going to leave and he's going to go get paid and this and that. Okay.
Or
okay,
he does leave and they replace him with a league minimum Claude Giroux because
he just wants to win.
Because see, forget Canada and Ottawa. Claude, what are you doing? Go to Tampa. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. What's next for Tampa? They go for 4.
Probably, yes.
Yeah, literally.
Literally. That's for them. Oh my God. I hate it so much. Okay. Yeah. Well, hey, that's it. Home ice to Colorado if you care. But yeah. But let's
talk about the Ball Arena. It's no longer the Pepsi Center. I keep forgetting that.
I know. What a shame. Okay.
What is Ball again? I just realized that.
I'm not sure.
The thing you shoot.
Okay.
Hey, basketball humor. Let's go. Okay. Oh God, there's so many things. Well, this is the good one. Let's talk about the team they beat. What's next for the Edmonton Oilers? Because there's a lot.
Where do you want to start?
Okay, there's a lot here. Now let me go to Edmonton on Cap Friendly because there's a lot. There's a lot of questions with the Edmonton Oilers. First off, Evander Kane put out a statement that if you read between the lines says, I picked the perfect place to play, the perfect line mate, and I'm going to go get somehow paid $7 and $8 million. He did not say those words, but that's what it meant.
Can I just say, I didn't know if we were going to talk about that statement, but since you brought it up,
we're talking about the statement. He played them like a fiddle. It's hilarious. We don't like Kane, but I
have an issue with the as if he's playing victim here. I want to be extraordinarily clear. There was maybe there was 5 people on hockey Twitter maximum who actually doubted his hockey skills. There was never any doubt about that. Ever. Go listen back to the podcast we talked about Evander Kane, or the countless podcasts. Sorry, we've talked about Evander Kane. This was never. I hated it when I read that. I'm like, are you kidding me? The fact that he made it out to seem as if like we didn't think he was going to succeed on the podcast. I think we were all in agreement that Evander Kane was going to pop absolutely off and that the Edmonton Oilers were absolutely the best place for him to go. It wasn't Tampa. It wasn't Florida. It was Edmonton because you place him next to the best player in the world and he's going to pot. How many goals did he pot this playoffs? 15, 19. I probably should have checked. I probably should have checked that. But like, come on.
He potted. I love how it's like it shows this season. It's like the Edmonton Oilers, and underneath it shows the San Jose Barracuda. He had 13 goals, 17 points in 15 playoff games.
Wow. Who could have seen that coming? Absolutely everybody.
I'll say I knew he was going to be good. I didn't know he'd pop off of that much in the playoffs, but then you kind of realize, the Flames forgot how to play defense.
He's a $7 million player before this.
And now he's going to get more money.
Of course he was going to. This is the best player Connor McDavid has ever played with beside Leon Draisaitl.
I mean,
by the way,
he needs the extension though. Like,
oh, of course he needs more than he because I mean, no, I'm not gonna make the joke. Not gonna make the joke. By the way, quick thing: Leon Draisaitl apparently did have a high ankle sprain. That playoffs with that injury, like what? Holy cow! Mention that back to Kane though. So yeah, the word out there is that he'll be. I think Ryan Rishaug was the first one to say. I could be wrong. I'm so sorry, but he's like one of the few Edmonton media members I can stand. Good question. Good question. One says to the other.
Oh my God.
About throwing Jesse
Get
Puljujarvi
out of here. What a surprise who it was.
but it looks like the Evander Kane's asking price could be $7 to $8 million.
Oh my goodness.
Which is astounding. Whoever gives that to him. Thank God the Habs don't have any cap space, because I would be terrified.
What you mean is, thank God Mark Bergevin isn't the GM.
The Kings are like, I mean, character. He bounced back. Resilient, as Sportsnet would say.
Listen, I'm just saying, like, there's, man. I know
like that his ex-wife put out brooms, by the way. That was funny.
Yeah.
I know everyone's talking about Johnny Gaudreau going to Philadelphia. I'm also not entirely convinced of that, because he just had his career year with the Calgary Flames.
He's going to Edmonton, is what you're saying, Alex. I agree.
I'm saying I think he's going to stay in Calgary, but
he's pulling a Kevin Durant. He's going to the team that defeated him in the playoffs.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised if Evander Kane ends up in Philadelphia based off of everything that's come out of Philadelphia.
Tortorella and Kane?
Oh.
If that happens, if both those pieces, the noise coming out of Philadelphia will be spicy. I don't like Evander Kane. I don't like how the whole of Edmonton, not all of them, I shouldn't say that. There are Oilers fans out there that get it.
It's crazy how that perception changed, right?
So it's going to be that, or I don't want to fully bully Edmonton. Like, I can't do that. I do that to Winnipeg too often. So here's the thing. It's either they're going to keep Evander Kane by overpaying him, and in the process, they're going to get rid of Jesse Puljujarvi. Or to be honest, I think no matter what, Jesse Puljujarvi's gone. Okay, so here's what's interesting. Jay Woodcroft had a quote say, "We need to believe they're young players," and I'm paraphrasing here, and that Jesse Puljujarvi was one of them. And I was like, beautiful. Then Ken Holland was asked, I believe by Matheson, if he saw that if Puljujarvi's part of the team, and Holland said, "We'll have to figure that out." And I believe Mark Spector then said, "Good question." Wait, now we've talked about this before, but if you missed it, I want to just read you two snippets from an Athletic article that I saw. Because I just want to put some stuff into perspective of how sort of difficult the new year has been for Jesse Puljujarvi. Who again, and I have something about his defensive numbers here. I feel so silly. I didn't get the name of the writer up. I'm very sorry. I'll read this and I'll go find it because it's really good. So Holland felt as though Puljujarvi lost his confidence in the new year. The right winger was in COVID-19 protocol during the December holiday break, then suffered a lower body injury that cost him 12 games until he returned March 17th. Woodcroft said that the injury impacted Puljujarvi's skating and took him a while to get back to full speed. He also missed 3 games near the end of the regular season with an illness, which Woodcroft felt hindered the winger as well. Quote, "He's a good player for us," Woodcroft said. "He's a good young hockey player. We have a strong belief in the next wave of young players coming through our organization, and Jesse's one of them. We'll see." Some also stuff on Elliot Friedman here. Sorry, not on Jesse Puljujarvi. This is from Spencer Pomedy on Twitter. "The Oilers need to keep the puck out of the net. Puljujarvi's 1.80 goals against per 60 is the lowest on the team. Also to note, his 58.8% Corsi is tops on the team as well, and his 59.1 times goals for percentage. You have a great package to work with. Help develop his finishing and puck handling under pressure." By the way, if you want proof that you can develop and help a player improve his finishing, look at Ilya Mikheyev and look what he was turned into. And you could argue that Jesse Puljujarvi defensively is even better. As I look for the rider, because I feel like a jackass for not knowing to get there. Guys, why in the world would you give up on this player? An underappreciated, great two-way fit. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I think things have been sour since. And I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying I agree with it. It's just my perception of what's going on is I think things have been sour since he went back to Finland for a year, which probably actually did him a whole heck of a lot of good, instead of being in whatever was going on in Edmonton at the time. It's just I'm not sure why, because I think you'd have a really good top six of in any way you want to put these players. You have bare minimum McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, Yamamoto, Jesse Puljujarvi. That's 6 guys right there. And removing Evander Kane from this equation at the moment because he's unrestricted free agent. Who knows what's going to happen there? Like you have a top 6 there, and I think he'd work well next to one of Draisaitl or McDavid.
I agree.
By the way, sorry, just one thing before you go, Daniel. It was Daniel Nugent Bowman from The Athletic. Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I kind of felt like things were mending and getting better ever since this roller coaster of a development for Jesse Puljujarvi. I thought, things were turning for the better, and they'd see him as a guy that we used the 4th overall pick on this guy, and he's finally settling into the franchise. Let's see what we have here, and it's still a very, very young guy. But I do look back on that year in Finland. I look back on this guy was clearly not ready for the NHL, and they still threw him into the fire. And then a few games in, suddenly they realize, hey, how about he just goes to the World Juniors? He goes to the AHL. Let's bring him up and down. That's something that I really felt that was the dagger for me. But I thought that there was a lot of potential here for change, for seeing how he's going to fit for them in the future. And, they're fumbling the bag. I really think.
The big problem with the Oilers is they're missing depth scoring. I think that's what really hurt them against the Avs, right? Is that it didn't exist. And here's the thing against signing Evander Kane, and let's just forget about the extra baggage of Evander Kane for a second. He's on the wrong side of the 8 spectrum, but he's a physical style. You already have one of those kind of contracts with Zach Hyman. Now, Hyman doesn't have the offensive output that Kane has, but from his previous time in Toronto that Hyman has the ability to play on the top line with an extraordinarily talented player, both a disher and a shooter, mind you. Although Marner, Matthews, Draisaitl, McDavid, this was a fantastic career for Zach Hyman. Just man does it, love it. But develop, keep both young, good players. If you still need scoring, maybe there's a more impactful sort of guy you can package them in the future. But I don't think it is, again, forgetting the baggage, look at the age, the stage in his career, and the money he could get. I would rather wait for a younger impact player scoring who could be available rather than free agency. You don't like this guy can score, but you can still see the tools he has, and he's a useful player. People are making the comparisons to a Valeri Nichushkin. And though that guy's numbers are the same as Arturi Lehkonen, I hate that the Avs have both those players, but that's a useful player. That's the player you can win with instead of you're going to be stuck. And I like this deal at the time, or at least I like the player they got back. Warren Fogle isn't working out great. I'd rather have Puljujarvi right now than Warren Fogle. It's just, I just don't get where Holland's thinking is here. And I don't get why there is no sort of, why people don't appreciate his value there. As I think it is a smart team's going to pick him up, and I hope to God it's the Habs.
I think the important question that should be asked, and I think it stems, it's all combined with it when it comes to Kane, Puljujarvi, and the other guys, is do you need Evander Kane? Is that an absolute necessity at this moment? Considering the entire context of the Oilers, I would argue you don't, because they went the first part of the season under a different coach, yes, but they had a bad portion, but they did have a good portion, showing that the group they had without Evander Kane was going to be fine. I think it's better because let's say Puljujarvi and Yamamoto, let's combine them together. I don't think are going to make what Evander Kane would make up. They also have $7 million in cap space. And they need to rebuild that bottom six again, because a lot of those guys are up. Turris, Seaver, Brassard, Archibald's up, Perlini's up. Who else? I believe Tyler Benson played some games. You're going to have the additions of Dylan Holloway and maybe Raphael Lavoie. But again, that bottom six is going to be extremely important, because I don't think it wasn't better. Definitely wasn't better than the Avs, but it was not good enough against the Avs.
Is this $7 million? It's already factoring that Mikko Koskinen is not coming back, right?
Yeah, well, he's up, so his
Yeah.
money's off the books. Yeah,
Okay.
7.
So they also need a goalie, another goalie.
Okay,
Yeah.
hold on. This
Oh
is
my
the
God,
next.
there's so
This is the
much.
next question. Well, first off, they need to re-up Jay Woodcroft, which is and Dave Manson. By the way, must be difficult for Dave Manson. Loses, but then his son's there and he wins with the Avs with Josh, and you're like, that's an awkward conversation on the way home. Calls his wife, and it's like, that's so great for. Oh wait, crap, sorry. That's got to be a difficult drive home. Anyway, so then we look at also, by the way, beside Draisaitl, Darnell Nurse. Apparently, the first round suffered since then has been playing with a torn hip flexor.
Ow.
Don't know what that means, but it sounds awful. Doesn't apparently require surgery, but a torn hip flexor. Anytime you hear hip, you're like, oh, that's not good.
That's not cool.
But warriors. I'd rather people take care of their body, but it is what it is. Okay, so that meant $7 million in cap space. Okay, here's how the Oilers are looking. First off, the $1.9 million buyout history of James Neal is still there. 1.5 of Andre Sekera. Who knows what's happening with Oscar Klefbom? But his contract is one more year at 4.1. You could use that room depending on if he's LTIR eligible. Who knows? Or maybe I don't think they can move the contract, because I wouldn't want to give up the picks if I'm them. Or if you can move it for your second next year, maybe you think about it. But then we look at,
unless you call Tampa and say, hello.
and then they're like, I want who is a good forward. And they get Puljujarvi. No! Oh my God. But so apparently they're waiting on decisions from both Mike Smith and Duncan Keith. Now, I was reading an article that people said that if Mike Smith retires, his contract goes boom. But I want to double check that, because he has a 35 plus deal because he's 40. And so he has one more year at 2.2, and Duncan Keith has one more year at 5.5 spare change because he has an illegal contract. And he has a full no move clause. God damn it. Remember, he went to Edmonton because he wanted to be close to his son. So that's interesting. This is the rest of their contract. So if Mike Smith goes, you need 2 goaltenders, or maybe you finally see if Stuart Skinner's available, but still you want to get a reliable starting goaltender. Chris Russell's gone. Brett Kulak apparently already told French media he'd be interested in coming back to Montreal. So you're going to lose him. Now, Tyson Barrie is probably going to get dealt because Bouchard took a big step. And then here's how the forwards are looking. They got to re-up Ryan McLeod, Jesse Puljujarvi, Kylo Yamamoto, even though Ryan Rishaug made it sound like that Puljujarvi's gone. Archibald, I don't know if you bring him back. Derek Brassard, don't know if you bring him back. Evander Kane. Skeebier, I don't know if you bring him back. And then Kyle Turris is finally done. So, yeah, with young guys, but you still need to sign probably legit NHLers. Or, I don't know, you throw a late round pick to get a guy at the draft or something. Like, they try and get like some depth guy for a team that wants to like move up in the 4th or something. I don't know. You know how that goes. There's a lot there for 7.5. Again, they can use the Klefbom room, but there is a lot to be done in Edmonton.
Oh, it's going to be a very, very interesting summer in Edmonton. They're going to have some decisions to make. I do feel a little bad for Tyson Barrie, though.
Yeah.
Because he gets traded from Colorado in Toronto. It does not start well. And then again loses because he was on the top power play, ended up losing it to Morgan Riley, then went to Edmonton, had the the
right side.
power play spot and then lost it again.
And Bouchard's not going to get that back. Maybe if Barry was better at passing than shooting. It's just the worst part is leaving Colorado is immediately people forget about you because Cale Makar, and now they're a juggernaut. Toronto, sort of another amazing team, but they've forgotten. And then the Kadri thing just hasn't really helped the reputation of the trade either.
Yeah.
People trying to say the Kerfoot. Shut up.
Does anyone actually say that?
It was the
I saw
Cali
it,
Rosie
there
factor,
There are
guys.
5 people who say that.
There were.
And then
It was
Sportsnet reports it, and then it's like, it's actual news. Nope, 5 people said it. Whatever.
There was a trade. Ben Bishop is now Ben Bishop's contract now belongs to the Buffalo Sabres. I think it was for a 7th.
Yes.
No, future
It was-
considerations.
With the 7th, yeah. So
With the 7th. Oh, okay.
Buffalo's basically just hitting the cap floor. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he still wants to play. We don't know.
I don't think he can play. I just think he's incapable. By the way, speaking of Buffalo, they're retiring Ryan Miller's number next year,
That's cool.
which well deserved.
Ducks
Well
legend.
deserved. You see how they told him?
No,
Yeah.
Sorry, Daniel. I think you said Daniel. Did you? I mean,
I said no.
no. So they brought him to the arena, right, and just I guess make it like a here. Look at here, and then they brought him onto the ice, right, and then on the jumbotron they have Rick Gironet being like, "Congratulate all this," and he's like, "We're gonna put you in the Buffalo Sabres Hall of Fame and retire your number." And it was a
that's cool.
really emotional number. It was really
Yeah.
cool.
That's cool.
Very, very, very cool. Good on them.
The Buffalo Sabres still have $14 million to go
To hit the floor?
To hit the floor. They have to re-sign Victor Olofsson and Jacob Bryson, who are both RFAs, arbitration eligible. And then you got Cody Eakin, John Hayden, Vinny Hinostroza, Will Butcher, Colin Miller, and Mark Pissick.
Who
Also,
wants to
don't
stay?
forget, they have 0 NHL goalies at the moment. They have 0 goalies signed at this moment.
Does Craig Anderson make his return?
No.
Sounds like it. I think it maybe.
Dustin Tokarski?
Oh no.
Malcolm Subban?
Goes back. He was was he there?
No, he
Or
was
like-
dealt, for future considerations.
Weird.
Wow.
Okay. So that happened. Shout out them. PJ Subban wins the Clancy for being, the best guy ever. So that's pretty nice. I really wonder where he goes next year. I'm really curious as to where, like, someone who's going to sign him. I wonder
And
if
why will
Seattle's
he
gonna
be a
fire him.
Tampa Bay Lightning?
No,
A 3-year deal at $900,000 per.
I don't know if he fits the profile.
Of
I
a
just-
Tampa Bay Lightning?
I mean, Kevin Shattenkirk played there, and he was similar style.
Yeah, but Shattenkirk doesn't have a ruined back. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I just don't know if Subban, like, think about it. Is he, because PK loves carrying the puck? Is he the guy you want carrying it? I have a
they
lot
have
of
like
questions.
3 guys who can already do that.
Make him the 7th defenseman, but he just plays on the power play.
Yeah, but he's
Which
just going to
power
shoot
play?
it.
Which power play? The third one?
Yes. Yeah.
No offense. It's just they already like.
I don't know.
They seem
Trying to put him
pretty set.
somewhere. I don't know where he would go. I'm trying to think now. Because
Maybe Seattle.
If
Get a big
Seattle's
name in there?
actually
Yeah.
Seattle's a good shout because
we
I
built a
think they
reputation
could-
there.
I think they can do a lot with him. I mean, maybe not so much on the ice, but I think he'd be pretty valuable off the ice for them too.
Oh, I got it. Colorado. He replaces Jack Johnson next year and Ryan Murray.
I could see that.
Adam doesn't hate it.
I don't hate it. No, I mean, it's not
And
my
why
first-
will he end up being a Carolina Hurricane?
Ah,
Oh.
Just saying.
I don't
Tony
think the
D'Angelo?
Just
Angelo?
saying.
I don't
I'm
know.
Just saying.
All right.
He's not going to be there.
No.
As we were told, he priced himself out of the market.
Bruce Cassidy.
Oh
We-
my God.
We caught him being fired on the show, but we're a bit
We
more
did.
calm now. Apparently, he was told a few weeks ago his job was safe. Don Sweeney then went to his house to tell him that he was fired. Imagine just, Bruce, Mrs. Cassidy comes out with a glass of lemonade. They're on the front porch. Good to see you, Don. Good to see you too. What's her name? Wendy?
You're
maybe?
fired.
By the way, Bruce, good to see you. Don't come in on Monday. Bye now.
He's not the problem.
So here's what's weird. There's a lot coming out here. I'm going to read you a bit of gubs from The Athletic here. Because this sounds a little nuts, to be honest with you. Because people are worried about David Pastrnak, right? So this is from The Athletic's Fluto Shinzawa, who has written a lot about the Bruins and all these decisions the past couple. Well, obviously, he writes about the Bruins, but there's been a lot of good stuff out there. I'm just going to read you the start of one of his articles here. After the 1920 season, Torrey Krug's contract was expiring. Bruins GM Don Sweeney did not stand in the way of the defenseman's exit to St. Louis. Side note, this isn't part of the article. Remember when Krug was like, yeah, they didn't send me an offer in like months. Continuing, though. A year later, David Krejci's deal was up upon season's end. Krejci considered relocating his family to Czechia. Sweeney did not make it worth the center's while to change his mind. In both cases, David Pastrnak was watching. Quote, 88 had seen how Don treated his two best friends. A source close to Pastrnak wrote The Athletic in a text. No chance he comes back with Sweens as GM. He will now be in the last year of his contract. By the Will Pastrnak. Then Elliot Friedman just had a little snippet, and he said, strong reports from Fluto Shinzawa on Pasternak's future. Reached out to his agent, J.P. Barry, who spoke today with Pastrnak and GM Don Sweeney. Plan is for everyone to sit down in early July to discuss an extension. Barry says premature to jump into conclusions beforehand. Boston's priority is to sign Pastrnak, but if he won't sign, then they definitely have to move him. We'll see how it all plays out. Listen, it's not like Friedman and JP Barry were like, it's not true, but they were like, let's just calm down here. And, there are random things you'd see on Twitter from certain local reporters, but hearing it from an athletic writer it carries a bit more weight, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I do think I always thought it was a thing of Krejci was leaving and it was a pure family thing. And yeah, maybe the Bruins didn't do much, but maybe I always thought maybe that was the thing of it was his decision and it was best for the family and da. But anyway, I thought maybe that was a little unfair. But again, Shinzawa definitely knows more than I do about the Bruins. But it's really funny that, and people have pointed this out, in Bruce Cassidy's press conference that he held himself, he was very thoughtful with all his answers. And then he was asked, were you a scapegoat? And he said, you'll have to determine that yourself. It's one of those giving an answer without actually saying it. Guys, I don't know what the Bruins are doing. Because apparently they're not doing a full rebuild, which is pretty in character with the Bruins. Yep. But if they lose Pastrnak, and we talked about a couple weeks ago, and I made this point especially, if you're rebuilding, it's not all doom and gloom because you have David Pastrnak. And this is one of the most elite scorers in the league, right? One of the best one-timers in the league. But if he wants to go, and you don't have Pat, it's basically just Craig Smith and his merry men up front. Oh, yeah. Marchand, but
he's out the first couple months.
Marchand
don't forget
is
Nick
in
Foligno.
His 30s. Nick, who apparently didn't work with Cassidy. But also Marchand, who's recovering from like a hip surgery and is on the wrong side of 30. So it's going to be a long time before he's back to himself, if he ever is again. Now, There's also been word out there that Cassidy didn't get on very well with the young players. I'd like to know more than that because I think that happens a lot with coaches. Like, what exactly do you mean he didn't get on? It's just like, I don't think it's a good thing if you always get on with your coach. I think there needs to be a bit more of a challenge. But I'm not saying Dom Ducharme levels of Kotkaniemi, you're gone and I don't like you, but John Cooper is a bit of a hard ass notoriously.
Mm-hmm.
Is he too demanding? Is he just not fair? Like, I obviously don't get to watch enough Bruins games to really get the vibe on it, but this is a coach that's never missed the playoffs.
Yeah. Oh. Adam, you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It looks like you slowed down there for a bit. The Bruins are in this very interesting, like, weird spot because, like, let's say they how do you rebuild with the Bruins? You know who it screams to me what it looks like? if we go back a few years ago, they seem like the Ducks, where they have all these I mean this, like they have these solidified pieces who are actually good, but they're not quite top tier yet. And they also happen to have like this just really good good back end, Lindholm, McAvoy, Carlo, Grzelcyk. It's just like, okay, again, how do we rebuild from here? I think you have to add the pieces. And I think what really screwed them this year was not doing anything about that second line center spot. When you know that you don't know the future of Patrice Bergeron, that's number one. And you signed Charlie Coyle a couple of years ago. You traded and then signed for Charlie Coyle a couple of years ago, and it seemingly hasn't worked out for him to be their second line center. Yeah. That's the frustrating part, is that they did nothing. To me, they didn't try to fill that hole. Instead, they tried Eric Halla as second line center, which I mean is fine for a season, but considering the context of the Boston Bruins and their situation moving forward, wasn't the best option in my opinion.
For me, I agree with that. That I think things just, and it happens to everything, the things just kind of caught up with the Bruins. There's that team culture we've seen with them, where there's that expectation where the top guys will take the hometown discount. They'll do what's best for the team. And I just think that things didn't go well with a David Krejci or a Torrey Krug with that situation. And it's the same thing, that they kind of commit to these guys where they feel that's going to fit the system. And I think that that's also something that caught up to them. Like, you have the Nick Foligno, you gave him term, you gave him 3.5. You have what Alex said with Charlie Coyle. Like, that guy is, like, when he was drafted, a Boston Bruin type of player. And it just hasn't worked out because he's paid like a top six guy, but he's not a top six guy. You give that money to Hampus Lindholm right now, and the situation you have with the team, or also with like a Linus Allmark type of deal, whereas what are you going to do with this team going forward? And I think it's going to be weird for me if they do a retool, because I look at that prospect pool and it's not great.
Well, Daniel, funny you say that. From 2015 onwards, I just want to read you some draft history to do with the Boston Bruins. Obviously, we're going to start at 2015 because you may have heard that they screwed up the first round.
And that's Sweeney's.
You may have heard of it.
That's
Sweeney's first year.
Yes. Yeah. Now, we can say that normally what you're supposed to do is trust your scouts, and they give the draft order. We don't know how the Bruins operate, but it is worth mentioning that this is the draft, and I'm going to get it up one more time. But you've heard this to death. The 2015 draft is very famous for, first off, being the McDavid draft. May have heard of it. But also, when the Bruins had picked 13, 14, 15, they picked Zaboral, who isn't much, Senyshyn, who isn't much, Jake DeBrusk, who wants out. And then the next three picks were Barzal, Connor, Chabot. And then later on, Eriksson Ek, Besser's up there. There's some good names there. Now, if you imagine sort of that team, and I mean, Barzal as your second line center is pretty decent. Or eventually, now he'd be playing behind Bergeron, and now he would finally be taking you got first line duties, my friend. So other guys around the 2015 draft, and I'm just going to focus on guys who have played games. 2 games from Cameron Hughes. Exactly. 28 from Dan Vladar, who is no longer in the organization. Jeremy Lauzon, who is no longer in the organization. I think he's in Nashville now.
Yeah, straight for a second.
Yeah, the deadline. Forsbacka Karlsson, who's played 29 games.
Our boy.
Zanish, and then we talked about the first rounders, but then they get Brandon Carlo in that draft, so not bad. 2016, Charlie McAvoy is good. Frederick at 29, he's only played 119 games, but is he a difference maker? He plays like a Bruin. Remember that stuff with Ovechkin, but is he a top line? Ryan Lindgren, who they traded for the Rick Nash trade, I think. We talked about it. And then Oscar Steen, who's played 2 games. I don't know where that man is.
23.
23.
He's played 23 games.
23 games. Sorry, I was looking at goals. He has 2. But anyway, and again, I'm only listing guys that have played games. 2017, Urho Vakanainen, who hasn't quite 45 games played, but is a first round popping guy
It's
so
a Duck
far.
now.
Yeah. Is he?
Yeah, he was in the Hampus Lindholm trade.
Oh my. Okay. All right. And then but at least they did the Lindholm trade. Fair enough. But that's a defenseman. That's a big problem here. Jack Studnicka.
Your favorite player.
We're just waiting for him. We're waiting
Yes, we
for
are.
him. Jeremy Swayman. That's
Who's
a
worked
goaltender.
out. Worked
That's a
out.
goaltender. And then from 2021 to 2018, no one's played a game in that draft. Now, obviously, let's say 2019 to 2021, you're going to give them a break because
Sure.
obviously a lot of those guys are still developing. But 2019, you'd maybe like to start seeing a guy. John Beecher's there. I'm pretty sure he's still in the organization.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And-
think
and
he's on
then-
the University of Michigan right now. Or
Okay.
He is at the University of Michigan. He played
right.
there last year.
And then obviously, like in 2018, for example, no one's played, but one of the guys, Axel Anderson, I think was in the
Kasha.
Kasha deal, which I did not like at the time. But you can start to see, if you look at that draft history, that the most impact forward they have drafted since Pasternak in 2014 has been Frederick or
DeBrusque.
DeBrusque.
And one of those guys wants out at the moment.
And just that is a massive red flag. That's
at the time,
where
like-
I think it's the big thing with the Bruins here is there have been next to no impact forwards so far in 5 or 6 drafts. There's the saying. Sorry, Daniel. Just
Okay,
one.
yeah, go ahead.
They say if you mess up your first round pick, it sets you back a couple of years. The Bruins are feeling it from 2015 to this day. And I think that speaks volumes about was Cassidy, maybe there was a change in voice needed, but there are much deeper problems in the Bruins organization. Go ahead, Dan.
Oh, I was just one thing. I like what you mentioned, that there are these deeper problems, that things like this was gonna catch up to them. We could even say, look back if you want to go even further on 2 things there, that to get one of those first round picks plus the second that became Jeremy Lauzon, you gave away Dougie Hamilton.
That was, I think, one of Sweeney's first moves.
Yeah, and then the Lucic one, that cancels each other out, I guess. Right now, what they got for the Kings, that was the other first round pick.
Yeah,
but
And Martin Jones was in
Martin Jones,
the other one.
Yeah, and I think Martin Jones. Yeah, Martin Jones wasn't he the Trent Frederick pick? Because that's when the Sharks went to the finals.
2016.
Yeah.
That's 2016.
But that's another note too, have on Trent Frederick. Even at the time, I know he has the Bruins identity, but he was a massive reach in the first round, and it's not looking good.
I mean, he gave us a good laugh when he got socked by Ovechkin in the nuts, but he doesn't, maybe he sold it a little bit. But listen, there are bigger problems than Bruce Cassidy in Boston right now. And I don't feel bad because it's Boston. And no one ever feels bad for the Boston Bruins.
No.
Shall we move on to Toronto and Montreal then?
Sure.
Okay, starting with the Leafs, Steve Briere is gone, famously being told to F off by Sheldon Keefe in the Amazon documentary. They're also going to be doing a much deeper look into the goaltending department. Famously, the Leafs, the last goalie I think they personally developed was Reimer. And,
Yeah.
good
Most
goalie.
Sparks, but
But Sparks.
Anton Bibeau.
But Bebo, you know what I mean? They haven't made a star goalie
no, they haven't.
No,
in a long time.
Just
Pogge.
I think it's
Did not
fair.
just say
Like,
Justin Polk.
no, I don't know if. Listen. Goaltending coaches are weird to me. I mean, there are options out there. Don't get Stefan Waite though, because he'll crap talk you when you lose your organization. But on top of this, and we're gonna keep going here because there. Actually, no. Before we go into the CJ stuff,
Oh, I don't even want to hear it. Come on. Are we actually going to take that for?
not Matt Murray, Matt Murray.
No, but okay. Let's do it then.
What do you? Well, first off, what do you think?
Well, I have. cool. Like you're asking me to talk about a position that no one knows anything
goalie
about.
coaches.
It's goalie coaches. Also, who knows anything about goaltending, because it's a voodoo position that just magically works.
There's 5 good ones and the rest of them flip a coin.
Right.
But, you know.
I hope it works out. I don't know if it was, maybe the goaltending coach was the problem. Not that that's going to fix everything. You still have to bring in good goaltenders. But we do know, I think in the past there with Anderson, with Campbell, there's seemingly been these weird dips that are extremely hard for them to get out of sometimes. And I wonder if a different voice might help with that.
I think that's fair. I know, like, goalies are so. I had a conversation with Will about Stephon Waite, right? When he came in and when Price was like 28, it was about making everything Carey does a little easier on his body, right? So I almost wonder if sometimes goaltenders at different stages of their career, it's almost necessary for them to have a different goalie coach. That's why I think it was in Florida that Luongo's building up a goaltending department. Yep. The Habs started doing that, but apparently they were just like, nah, never mind, Sean Burke, go. Which it's weird. But it was due. Having a whole evaluation of the position is so necessary. And you listen to last episode if you want to hear my thoughts about having good goaltending. It's necessary, right? It's especially the age Vasilevsky's at is you could realistically be having to face him for another 5 years.
Bare minimum.
And this Tampa team at its level for probably another season at least, but we're still with that core for another 3-4 years. Stamkos may be off by then, but you still have Kucherov and you still have Point. You still have, I don't know, whoever goes there. But I mean, it's an organizational need. You know what they say, better late than never. But
and I think with Toronto specifically, I think this was kind of needed. Mm-hmm. It's been the one position that they failed to really figure out. I think forward wise, I don't know. I think Dubas has done a good job at for the most part, keeping that core intact and then building below. I think the last 2 years he's done a good job, despite it wasn't skill that lost them, that killed them in the playoffs. Let's put it like that. I think defense wise, I think if you look at from their Matthews first year to now is a completely different defense core, other than Riley, who's been, I think, as expected, he's still here. It's goaltending that's really, I think, more so backup goaltending. I think they had Freddie, who had a few good years and then couldn't really tell you what happened other than he wasn't healthy. And then now you're really in limbo at the moment. I think they're very much in limbo.
I'd like to see a crazy stat about the Leafs drafting goalies, by the way. I just found out.
Sure.
So it's been pretty obvious since Cal Dubas joined the organization. I'll say like he had a bit of the input, or quite a bit of it, in 2015. But the 9 drafts prior to that, the Leafs have only drafted 4 goalies. And one of them is James Reimer. The other 2 is Anton Bibeau, Garrett Sparks, and the other one is a guy that I don't think he actually signed his entry-level deal with them, but this was in 2008, and it was Grant Roll Hessier in the 6th round. So there is efforts, I think, right now by the current regime to find a potential future guy, because before this, they never actually picked someone within the top 3 rounds, and you saw that with Joseph Wall. But it still needs to change. But I think there is a bit of an effort there. I know it's really weird when you say like, oh, I'm going to get the top goalie prospect, or I'm going to find my future guy somewhere else, because it's really rare to get someone in the first round. But again, they're trying. I know they're trying.
So this is from Chris Johnson. Apparently he said this on TSN 1050. Quote, and he's talking about the Leafs, obviously. They're going to be trying to find the guys that are making $1.5 million or $2 million. It seems to me that the focus will probably be on the reclamation type projects or some below the radar guys. Doesn't see them trading for John Gibson, for example. First off, how dare you? I really thought we had something there. Really thought we did, Kyle, you bastard.
Never say never.
No, I'm not gonna. I almost sung that, and I would have quit the show right there and then. Alex, how does that make you feel?
I mean, I don't believe it.
There we go. Fair enough.
Listen, let me put it like this. Sorry, I'm just gonna be a little upset because I'm just not having it these last few days. Everyone, I don't want to hear a single rumor about the Leafs until July. What day did we say free agency was?
13th.
The 13th?
Yeah.
I don't want to hear anything because none of it means anything. And we'll start with a few years ago. Who said that Radko Gudas was going to be a Leaf?
Was that CJ?
That was Elliot Friedman. So again, wrong. No, like I'm not saying it's. Listen, I'm sure someone told Elliot that Radko Gudas was going to be a Leaf, but wrong. And who ever thought Jake Muzzin was going to be the Leafs defenseman that the Leafs were going to trade for? Nobody. Same with Jack Campbell. It was only I really feel like it was the Nick Foligno deal that was the only one recently that we all kind of knew was going to happen. I don't think up until maybe an hour before it happened, like I didn't really think the Mark Giordano deal was going to happen. It was no one said that he was at the top of their list. Also, and I'm not crapping on CJ. I'm just telling you what's been out there. CJ saying this, but he's also said they would be interested in Matt Murray, who makes $5.25 million. So which one is it?
I thought it was 6. Which
is it 6.25?
I thought it was like 6.
So either way, vastly different than the $1 to $2 million that they might be spending. I really don't think, and I could be wrong, but how many times we know that this is an organization for the most part that a lot of stuff does not leak out of.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Same with Montreal, same with the Islanders, same with the Red Wings. The list goes on and on.
Iserman.
Why am I going to believe this now? Why?
So I have the number 6.25.
Oh my
million.
God. Oh my God.
Goodbye, Nylander.
It's a modified no trade clause, and he has, I guess, the upcoming season 2023 and then 2024.
I'll lose my mind. I'll lose my mind.
Trade protection too,
because he had all the leverage.
Yeah.
They Ottawa traded for him without doing a deal. The Leafs did that with Jonathan Bernier. Traded for him as an RFA and didn't have a deal set up.
I'm looking at some of the UFA goaltenders, by the way. It's thin, man. There's Fleury, who I doubt is gonna Pittsburgh or Minnesota to me, to be honest. Koskinen, who there was word he was going back overseas. Kemper, who knows? Who knows? Grice is 36. Jones, Holtby could be a fine backup. There's Campbell, Halak had a bad year. DeSmith, I don't know if he would leave Pittsburgh. Rittich, no.
Ooh.
Phoenix Copley, no.
Mm-hmm.
Colin Delia is a UF, no. Subban, no. Kincaid, no. Then there's obviously not Calvin Pickard. Then the other one I'm seeing here is Ville Husso, which I don't know how much he's going to make, but I mean, I think if there's a goaltender who's going to get the most money, it's probably going to be Husso or Fleury for my money. Maybe Kemper. It depends on, I think, how he plays in the playoffs, but
depends on how much money the Oilers have.
Exactly.
If they're going that route that CJ is suggesting for a backup goalie, okay, but it depends on who your other goalie is. Again, it's very dependent on who your other goalie is.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I'll say about that quote.
So the Canadians, we'll finish off with that. So there's a word going. I couldn't find the full article. I can only find a snippet, so I don't want to go too into it. But it's like this little rumor that apparently Dom Ducharme and the Habs brass wanted to make Perry captain.
Oh yes, I saw that.
and you still couldn't bring him back. That would have been the kiss of death because you don't want to be the captain of Montreal. Otherwise, you're gone. By the way, Nick Suzuki is still going to be captain. Do you guys see the video of he was so Nick Suzuki's been in Montreal for most of the summer, right? Like he's been doing a lot of like good community stuff, which I think that thing of after Guy Lafleur died, and he was like, I don't want to take advantage of being a Canadian. So he's like, I don't want to sort of let it fall from my fingers. Like I don't want to take for granted being a Hab. You can tell he's really taking that to heart. He's going to be the captain. I think it's pretty safe. And he was asked by a kid who's going to be the captain, and Suzuki just has this smirk, and he's like, I don't know, man. I think it's me.
It probably will be.
Definitely going to be.
Maybe.
So there's two things here. One, I forgot to put on the doc, so I'll surprise you guys with it. But before we get there, the Canadians have hired Marie-Philippe Poulin.
They did it.
What?
They did it.
Yeah, I thought you said they didn't. I'm like, what?
No, they did it. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. Congrats.
So she will be working mostly with the prospects. And there's been an emphasis that it's going to be part-time because she plans to play, by the sounds of it, one more Olympic cycle. But it happened, guys. How do we feel? It felt like it should have happened, and any other team would have felt wrong.
It was inevitable.
Yeah.
Nice Thanos. Yeah.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, I think.
Sorry, Dad.
I think Montreal's on. What I've said before, they continue to be on this role of getting the people they need in management, in coaching, to just make sure that it's a solid foundation moving forward with what this rebuild is going to look like. So I think this year it's just been like that, and I think that she's a proven winner. She's someone that knows how to work with the younger players. So win-win, I think. Like, again, amazing for Montreal to just pivot like this.
The front office, it's like you have faith. Like I don't know if it's just because obviously there's been so much turnaround, but it feels like every bit of news with a hiring has just been like, I'm happy with this. This makes me happy. I'm smiling about this. And a bit of freaking diversity, goddammit. Finally. But it's good to see. It's good to see. Yeah, she's a winner, all right. Couple gold medals. Couple gold medal winning goals. She's pretty decent. I'm pretty happy. Okay, someone asked Pierre LeBrun this on Twitter. I thought it was really interesting because apparently if they lose Evander Kane, the Oilers might be interested in getting a power forward. Somebody asked Pierre, let me see if I can find this from Cheering the Logo on Twitter. This person asked, Pierre, I know that you don't answer a lot of fans' questions directly, but what do you think an offer would look like for the Habs to even consider trading Josh Anderson, who was on Frank Saravelli's top 25 trade targets? Thanks. And Pierre actually responded, it would have to be real significant, period. Habs turned down some serious offers for Anderson before the March 21st trade deadline, period. My sense is Kay Hughes never mentions his name to his GM counterparts, but they keep asking about him, period. Habs aren't planning on moving him, comma, but never say never.
So can I translate that for anyone who didn't understand?
You weren't going to sing it this time?
A whole lot of gibberish, and we're not moving. We're not moving Josh Anderson. Is that what it said? Is that pretty concise?
See, here's how I look at it, right? If the Oilers want to be dumb about this, and if I'm Kent Hughes, I'm going to let the phone ring. Listen, I like Josh Anderson, but I think we all can agree, and I think we said it at the time, he's going to finish his career being bought out because of the way he plays.
Mm-hmm.
I would not, and we've seen this with the Lehkonen and Toffoli deal and Kulak. He only trades guys if he gets his price. Listen, I wouldn't be against trading Josh Anderson because one day, and I said this about the Price contract, it took a long time for the Price contract to really bite Montreal. Like I never think it really cost them until now. But because the Bergevin always holding on to his cap space. There's a bit of a mess towards the end of this season. I'm trying to get guys in the lineup, but obviously it didn't matter because they were last place. But I think it would be better if you could maximize Josh Anderson's value now and move it. And if
100%.
the Oilers, listen, I don't know if he's good. If they are I believe that they're not shopping him more than, Mark Bergevin saying I'm trading PK Subban when you were obviously, somebody's like, I'm not trading PK Subban, but you were. I'm just saying, I don't think it would be the worst idea.
No, because you're trading Josh Anderson during the good years of his contract. Okay. How many years will it take, do you think, for Montreal to be competitive?
I'm going to say, I think they start in 2025.
So
is when you
three more seasons.
I would say.
Or 2022, 2023, 3 more seasons.
Yeah. That's the sort of, we're starting on the up at least.
And Josh will be what, 31?
So how many years? Let me pull up his contract.
He has
that'll be
5 years left.
Yeah.
And he's 28 now.
So he'll have 2 more years left on his contract at 5.5. At that point, is Josh Anderson going to be Josh Anderson?
No, he's not. And that's the thing.
Probably not. So it's in your best interest to probably trade him now or next year.
Philip Broberg in a first.
No. They have a French prospect. I forget his name. It's like Bourville or something.
Oh, yes, the guy they got instead of Jesper Wallstedt.
Yeah. Which I don't get, but I think the Oilers would be nuts to give him up, but if you could. So here's what's interesting. So I hate Mark Bergevin so much. So from when he signed the contract till the end of next year, Anderson has an 8-team no-trade list. And then from 2024 till 2027, he has a 5-team no-trade list.
Well, that's unfortunate. So never mind, Edmonton.
Why?
Never mind, Edmonton.
Why would you do that? Why did you give him that much? Oh my God! The Bergevin.
Now, remind me, was that similar situation to who we were just talking about him? The RFA. Oh, Matt Murray, because he also has protection. Now, I remember when they traded for Josh Anderson, did they have the deal done right away? Or were they talking?
I think they knew the term.
Okay.
Because it was like everyone knew that Josh Anderson was signing a 1-year or a 7-year deal.
Yeah.
Because he was about to hit, because he was a year away from UFA. That's annoying. That's really annoying. So if you can get it done, I mean, listen, whoever it is, I mean, there's value in a player like Josh Anderson. We know that because of his style of play. And he's fast and he can score goals. So do it. You see the thing that apparently the Penguins, if Letang doesn't resign, they may go after Petrie.
Why?
Curtis.
Why?
Let's just double check Pittsburgh. I would like not Poulin because not him.
Well, then they don't have anyone else.
They really don't. I don't know who any of these prospects are. Oh, Philip Hollander. No, thank you. Okay, well, I think that's everything. The draft's coming, guys.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah, we're kind of out of time, so we can talk about Wednesday will be the double Kenobi episode. Not to mention episode 4 wasn't great. It was fun.
It had its moments,
but it wasn't great. Yeah.
It's just kind of confusing. But we'll wait for that. But yeah, it's kind of confusing for me.
You guys just want to bang it out now, then?
Sure.
Okay. Spoilers for episode 4 of Kenobi. And on the notes, I'm going to uncensor the notes.
Again, if you're just here for the hockey, you can tune out.
Yeah, you're gone. Goodbye. Thank you for listening. Check out the links for the TikTok and that. Kenobi. Okay. Yeah, it wasn't a great episode. It was fun, but it wasn't great. What were you going to say, Daniel?
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so the first thing that I had what made me laugh is, remember when we were doing all of this and we were never going outside and we just kept buying Lego?
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, look, it's Alex's set he bought.
Yes.
That's the first thing I thought about for that episode because he bought Vader's castle.
I did, yeah. And what, Alex, you got Kylo Ren's ship?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what I thought about.
And you got Anakin's Starfighter and you haven't built it.
Yes, no. And I also pre-ordered Obi-Wan's. It's pretty funny.
I want to get it. Yeah, it looks
It's
awesome.
so nice.
This is
But okay,
episode 2,
anyways, I guess first thoughts about this is just, I guess a lot went on, but a lot of reveals. So I think the one thing that got to me was when it's like, oh, you know what they're hiding? It's like, this is a tomb. And I'm like, okay.
Cara Shinobi, no.
What's with the bodies?
Yeah. So Tara Shinobi was the first body you saw. For anyone who doesn't know, that gentleman was in Star Wars Clone Wars. He was the old Jedi who helped Ahsoka. Yeah.
Okay, just tell me. It's fine.
He helped Ahsoka get her lightsabers back after she lost them. And it's so annoying. He used to be on the Jedi High Council, but he retired and he specialized in the underworld of Coruscant. So everyone's like, we want some Clone Wars flashbacks. And then you show us a dead Master Shinobi. How dare you? Okay, you said a lot happened, Daniel. I don't think a lot happened.
I mean, a lot of like flashy things happened, but not a like pushing the story forward happened.
Oh, yeah, it felt like filler almost. Like, listen, I grew up watching a lot of anime. And when I was younger, they used to do the thing of there were weekly episodes of anime, right? Instead of the seasonal thing we have now, right? The only anime that still really do the weekly thing is One Piece. And as a result, the pacing sort of suffers and you have filler every once in a while, right? So it felt like I was watching an episode of Bleach in 2008, where it was like, I almost thought that the Fortress Inquisitorius was going to be a climax of the series, or it'd be an episode 5 thing and you have your big climax then in Game of Thrones style. The last episode be your sort of finale, wind down type, epilogue type thing. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, I'm pretty sure this show went through rewrites. And I think you noticed it a bit in this episode. Because I think Kenobi is fun, but I think it has some borderline writing issues to it.
Yeah.
Like in episode 3, when Reva finds the tunnel, but somehow she gets the other end of it and beats Leia to it. Now, I thought maybe she recognized the tunnel, but then if she did, but then like episode 4 sort of pointed that she's actually been searching for these, what I forget what they were called, for the path. So she's been looking for, and this is a big thing for the Empire, right? So it sort of debunked my theory there. But like, how did she get to the end of the tunnel? How did she know where the exit was and get ahead of Leia, right? They're little things, but like bad writing really irks me sometimes. And there's a little bits of that there. Like like a big thing is, what was that guy who died? Like in the random starfighters the speeders that came and saved Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah.
And Tala.
And there's a bit of like a weight. There's supposed to be some weight to it, but I'm like, I'm sorry, but who was this guy? Yeah.
This is another big pet peeve of mine, is when you kill off characters I've never heard of and you expect me to feel bad about it. Like, you could have done that with Tala because she saved Obi-Wan a few times now and have her die protecting Obi-Wan and Leia. Like, I don't care about these characters we just met. And he wasn't even the guy who was like, I was married to a Jedi. Like, that would have been a little better, but it wasn't even him.
By the way, I like to say that's O'Shea Jackson, the actor. That's the son of Ice Cube.
O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Really?
Yeah, sorry, Junior. Or no, he's actually Ice Cube in Straight Outta Compton. So
yes, he is. That's true. Good point.
Like, there was still good stuff, but it's like the only thing of consequence that actually happened here was Leia got captured and they got her back, and now they're tracking him with Lola. When last episode you still knew Obi-Wan's location and you were on planet with him and tracking him down like you were doing in episode 2 and 3.
Yeah.
It feels like a yo-yo.
That episode, there was like 2 entertaining things to me in that episode. And one of them was literally 4 seconds long.
What was that?
The 4 second long one was literally Darth Vader walking into the room and
That was awesome.
I
was shot
thought
really
I thought someone was gonna die.
You
I like the
were
tracking camera.
warned.
Pardon?
Yes.
I like the tracking camera.
Yeah. And then the first one was like just Obi-Wan, like that journey to him actually getting to like proper Obi-Wan, which is like what we've been watching for the last 3 episodes. It just felt to me like everything surrounding that, like the actual story itself, was just lacking a lot.
I'd like to say a throwback episode 1 Obi-Wan of swimming. I like that part a lot. Okay, he brought it.
He did his like twirl thing. And
He did the twirl thing.
His defensive stance.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
I like that he has the flow back and like the beard is a bit more trim, so it's like episode 2 Obi-Wan. I like that.
It also kind of sucks that they threw him in the back to tank, and it was like, oh, the burns are gone. I thought that was going to be a thing, even though the parallels of him in the back to tank were still pretty cool.
I thought they were going to talk to each other while they're in the back to tank.
Where's Qui-Gon? Or at least like maybe Qui-Gon was going to be like, Obi-Wan, it's me, Liam Neeson, live from the Rangers game. We need to go. I can't do an Irish accent. I'm British. I think that'd be a hate crime if I did, so I can't do that. But seeing Prime Obi-Wan was cool. It's really funny, Alex. I don't know about you, but it felt like I was watching someone play Jedi Fallen Order's last mission. It's just like,
don't ruin it for me. I didn't finish the game.
You don't finish anything.
Sorry.
Nothing.
We're absolutely ruining it.
Oh, okay.
Like the same thing with like the glass shattering and stopping.
Yeah.
The water. And
everything. Yeah, that part. Yeah. That
Except it was so much less effort it was more effort for Obi-Wan than that other character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we'll get the Qui-Gon thing maybe when he's like, back to full strength. So
so
the connection to the Force is back.
Him and Vader have to fight again. Like they have to.
Oh,
maybe in that moment, that's when Qui-Gon's like, Obi-Wan.
Well, there's a spoiler already from the Lego set. What?
No, what do you mean?
So there's a set right now for the Inquisitor ship.
Yeah.
And it shows Obi-Wan fighting all 3 of them at the same time. And he has a poncho on.
Oh, well, but that could just be his general like thing, right?
I don't know, because that happened with the Batman, where there's a part about like the Penguin. Where I didn't watch the movie yet, but apparently that was a spoiler that they released it in the Lego set like 3 months before the movie.
Wait, Daniel, have you actually not seen the Batman yet?
No, I haven't.
That's actually extremely surprising.
I waited too long. Now it's no longer in theater.
Oh,
so like Morbius.
We should watch it.
I'm not watching Morbius.
I'm not even gonna touch that. Adam just told me there was a new Jurassic World. I'm like, I don't even want to watch that.
Apparently, it's bad, which is a shame. What else? I wanted to mention. But yeah, like
the youngling that scared me. That one.
That was like,
you just took a body of a youngling from the Jedi Temple.
And remember, in Order 66 to open it, those younglings still had their helmets on.
Yeah.
So maybe those are one of Reva's friends. Maybe she turned them into the dark side, or maybe she used the dark side to kill troopers, and Anakin's like, or no, because Anakin would have killed. I still need to know how she knows it's Anakin. How?
I think maybe
I bet that's gonna be an episode 6 thing.
And then she'll die.
Yeah.
Because no one can know.
Maybe he's like one of those Force sensitive people that like they're like, okay, we'll spare some of these people. So
yeah, but she shouldn't know it's him. I think it's only like 3 people in the Empire know he's Anakin. It's the Emperor, it's Tarkin, and Thrawn. And I think Thrawn like figures it out because Thrawn's a genius, right? And like obviously Tarkin's like the 3rd guy in charge.
Mm-hmm.
I think in some cases he's actually higher than Vader in the pecking order sometimes.
Yes, when I was a kid, I didn't know that because when he told Vader to do something in the original trilogy, I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah. In fact, I think it's like the only person that Vader's not allowed to kill is Tarkin. Because he's just, it's Tarkin. You can't kill Tarkin.
The rebellion did that for him.
Yeah, exactly. But so that scene when Obi-Wan actually saves Leia, and he has like the lights are down. It's almost like an Easter egg to a Force Unleashed trailer from back in the day when Starkiller does the same thing. I think it's for Force Unleashed 2. But yeah.
Fun game.
Not as good as the first one, but it was good enough. The gameplay was good.
Yeah.
Level design was not great because
Very
it was
short.
short. Like a year. Yeah, because did you know Hayden Blackman had like 2 weeks to write the story because it was all rushed?
Oh, I didn't
Or
know that.
sorry, for
There's-
what?
Force Unleashed 2.
Oh, okay.
That's why it was such a shorter game.
The
Than that.
Unleashing.
Oh.
There was supposed to be a whole scene on Dagobah, instead they just had the one cutscene. And there's supposed to be a Force Unleashed 3 that had to think of maybe like Vader and Starkiller have to team up against Boba Fett, but it got canceled because that's when Disney bought Lucas.
Oh yeah.
And Dark Days. You brought back Clone Wars. How about bring back the Force Unleashed? There's actually an idea that Dave Filoni was going to make Starkiller back into the series, but as an Inquisitor, because you can't make him canon as he is because he's too powerful. Remember, he bodies Vader in the first game, and it's like, we can't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, episode 5 better be better than this.
When is that?
This
That's
is-
on Wednesday.
Wednesday.
right?
Yeah.
All right.
Like, this has been the one episode where I've been like, I'm worried. The other ones were good,
You know,
especially
without,
after episode 3.
without this discussion, I don't think I'd be watching this on time. Thanks, guys.
Oh, we're good.
I'm,
Good to me.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm not holding it off.
Oh,
Is that Ray's lightsaber?
Get out. No, it's not Ray's lightsaber. I got it from, I forget what the site's called,
Yeah.
but it's a mystery bag. So you pick, like you
Oh.
buy it, they send you a random one, and the blade isn't yellow, it's white.
Oh.
Probably should have mentioned, for those of you not listening, I grabbed my lightsaber.
no, yeah.
And I've been playing with it and doing the Obi-Wan thing. Should have mentioned that. That's why you should
I
check out
still
the
need to
YouTube
get
version.
one.
A lightsaber?
Well, like they have like the Kid Fisto one, but it's like almost $300. But I want like an origin one. It's like they recovered the lightsaber in like Palpatine's office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were warned. What
That was such a
failure
good scene.
would bring. Paused the moment I saw him. I'm like, here we
Oh
go.
my god.
Very
And
nice.
then he didn't kill anyone. It was like, oh. But hey, Reva's smart. Reva's
Yeah.
smart.
I think, you know what they should do? They should just do a series for Vader where he just kills people.
I mean, Hayden Christensen's not doing a lot of movies right now. Why not?
I think this is the first thing he's done since episode 3.
No,
He did, he did Jumper.
He's done stuff. He did he did a smaller movie where they actually filmed it in Toronto. I don't remember.
Is the one with
name.
Outcast?
Probably went to a
No,
Leafs game.
it's I think it's called Little Italy, actually.
Oh yes, that one about like the pizza,
Yeah.
like falling in love. Is that very common, Alex?
What?
Falling in love in a pizza
No,
parlor? No. Okay.
not that I know of.
Okay.
And with that, we will see you Wednesday when we talk about episode 5 of Kenobi. The finals start on Wednesday, so I don't know if we kind of previewed the game already, so I don't know what else we can talk about.
We'll squeeze in something.
So yeah, hopefully stuff happens. Maybe some coaching stuff, because it's just rumors. It's like, all these coaches are available.
Yeah.
So maybe they can actually tell us where certain coaches are going. Thank you for listening to the show. Oh, God, I just hit my wall. Hold on. I don't think I dented it. We're good. I didn't hit it from the line. I hit it with the hilt itself. Surprisingly heavy. Heavier than expected, as Padme said to Anakin when she held his lightsaber in the early parts of Clone Wars. When Cad Bane takes the Senate hostage. Or certain senators hostage. Go watch. It's a good episode, actually.
It is.
It's an early episode, so Matt Lanter's not as into the voice as he later becomes, and the animation's a bit clunkier, but it's still a very good arc. Cad Bane's great. Anyway, thank you for listening. Watch Clone Wars, Daniel.
Okay.
You say okay, but you never do. You've had like a year and a half, 2 years maybe. Yeah, I told you to watch Clone Wars before Tampa won a cup. Perry
Which
was
cup?
probably still a duck.
Oh my god.
Enough said. Perry was still a duck. Okay.
All right.
Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Gudgy's alive!